Hello and welcome to another Good Game Empire video. Today we will be talking about attacking, so this is gonna be the third part of PvP guide series. So it's pretty much the most advanced technique in the game and there is plenty of stuff to talk about. So this is gonna be a pretty long video, and remember that there are video chapters on this video bar, so when you hover over the video bar on YouTube you can see the video chapters. It's always split for different segments. First it's gonna be some basics, then some more advanced stuff, and the most advanced stuff I would say at the end of the video. So it's up to you how you want to watch the video, for example whole video or only a part of the video, so it's up to you. Okay, so let's start with the basics as I said. So the most important thing how to attack is how to actually start the attack. So you pick your target and you click on attack button right there and you can attack. Have in mind that if you attack a player with lower level, you can lose your honor points. So you will see if you lose honor points there, and if you're level 70 and you attack a player under level 45, you're gonna lose honor points, so it's not profitable basically to you. And the honor points tell you how many percent of bonus glory points you're gonna get, so it's not worth to lose them, and it's actually not worth to attack low levels. So let's proceed further. And the first thing I would like to describe to you are actually like attack bonuses. So we have plenty different types of bonuses, and they are visible the best on the commander statistics. So there are a few different categories. First is unit effects. So as the name says, it affects the strength of units you use in your attack. So as starting, I'm gonna say a bit more about that in a later part of video, but we have melee units which have melee attack power, and we have ranged units which have range attack power. So you have these bonuses which make their attack power stronger. So you have the combat strength for melee units, and it makes this number bigger by 140%. So it just powers up the attack of melee units. 150 in this example strength to ranged units, so the strength of ranged units powers up their attack. So the strength to melee units makes this number bigger, so they get stronger in the attack, and strength for ranged units make their attack power stronger. And the third bonus is very important. I would say the most important bonus in whole attacking. Let's call it the combat strength when attacking enemy courtyards. So what is courtyard and how is castle built? You probably know how castle is built and defined in Good Game Empires. We have three parts of wall, like three wall segments. You have front, you have left flank, and you have right flank. And you also have the courtyard, which is behind this wall parts, and it's visibly behind, and that makes sense because I'm gonna explain another very important mechanic there. You need to break through the wall to get into courtyard, because if you're not gonna make it through the wall, you're not gonna fight on courtyard because your units failed on the wall. So basically to get some combat on the courtyard, you need to get through any part of wall. You can get past one part, or past two parts, or past all of the parts, so past three parts of the wall. You can get through them. So when you get through all three of them, you're actually getting an additional bonus to strength on courtyard, because you have outnumbered soldiers and you have passed through all the wall segments, so that gives you a bonus. And this gives you a 30% combat strength bonus on the courtyard. So your units go through all the flanks, they defeated all the defenders, and they get into courtyard with additional bonus for defeating all the wall parts. So when you get through only two parts, for example, the defender had one flank with good defenders, and you managed to get past the middle, the front, and the right flank, you're getting no bonus. So when you go through two of three wall segments, you're getting 0% bonus to courtyard. And when you only make it through the one segment of the wall, you're actually getting a negative bonus, so a negative effect, minus 30% of the courtyard strength bonus. And this has a huge impact on the whole battle, because the main part of the battle takes place in the courtyard, obviously, if you make it through the wall. So it has a very big difference in the like battle outcome and units lost on both sides, and it's very important to get through as many parts of the wall as possible, and we'll be talking about this the whole video today. So that's the basics, and I hope that you now understand what is the Courtyard strength bonus and why you need it to kill as many units as possible on the Courtyard. The second category in these bonuses is defensive structure effects. So a defender, every castle in the game has these defensive buildings, and I'm gonna show you in a second. And they are providing your castle additional support, which makes the attacker harder to get past the wall. So we have the gate, the wall, and the moat. You also have towers, but they have a bit different mechanism, because they tell you how many units, how many soldiers you have on your wall. So they don't like directly give some percentage bonus, they just give more units on the wall. So you have three main parts: the gate, the wall, and the moat. And that's three parts we're gonna focus on now on. So on the example neighbor I'm attacking, just as an example, we have these three bonuses. So same as in the castle, let's just switch to my PvP commander. We have the wall protection reduction. I used to call it reduction, so you reduct the wall protection because you have a negative value there, so it's a reduction, or it's just minus wall protection. Well, but it sounds better with reduction. So wall protection reduction, gate protection reduction, and moat reduction. So it's just moat reduction, yeah. So you have these three bonuses. And this is important with the equipment. I had the second part of PvP guides on this, how to make a good PvP commander, and this is very important to have these bonuses as high as possible to have good outcome on the battle and to make your units easier to get past the wall, because as you can see, you have these defensive bonuses there, and you need to negate them with tools, but this a bit later. So this was defensive structure effects. Now attack effects. So they are also very important attack effects. You have two there: unit limit on the front and unit limit on the flanks. So as I said previously, you have the front in the middle and flanks on the right and left. And the unit limit on the front and flanks determines how many units you can fit. So these bonuses come from different sources, but basically the unit limit makes this number bigger. So when you have bigger limit bonus, you can have more units. For example, I'm gonna change the commander to another one, and look at this number, is gonna be bigger or smaller depending on the bonus on this commander. So it's bigger because the commander has better soldier limit on flanks. So yes, this is dependent on the commander. Later we have, and in the attack effects we also have bonus strength for units, for different types of units. This depends on the hero. For example, there we have Berserker and Spearwoman strength when attacking, but the most useful is pretty much the Horrors bonus. I have it right there. So plus 11 horror strength when attacking. This applies of course only to horror units, and if they have this number, it just gets bigger by 11. So it's not any percent bonus, it's just bigger strength power for the horror units, and it's dependent on the hero. Next, pre-battle effects. This determines army travel speed, and it also might be mantlet travel speed, but we're not gonna use mantlets in PvP, so that's not important, just the army travel speed. So basically with relic commanders, so with the blue equipment commanders, is pretty much the same in every commander, so that's not important. It's just important to have high travel speed bonus, because it's very important to have your army at the destination as quick as possible. Okay, and the last tab, post-battle effects. So I'm just gonna switch my commander to a special commander, which has more of them. These are like more dirty war stuff, so this is not. So army return, travel speed is not dirty stuff, but and the resource plundered, this is normal. As well as chance of finding better equipment, but this doesn't apply for PvP. But you have more honor points earned in the battle, more fire damage inflicted when attacking, and a better chance to destroy enemy building when attacking. So this is useful on a dirty war, but we're not gonna talk about that a lot in this video. You just need to know that it exists, and this is one of possible bonuses in the commander and in the attack, because this part was like I wanted to explain to you all the attack bonuses, because you need to understand the bonuses in order to know how the battle will perform depending on your bonuses. You can get these bonuses from many different sources, but the main and non-pay-to-win sources will be also a Hall of Legends. So that is very important to have your Hall of Legends set as for a PvP combat. So it's not gonna be about NPC targets and stuff like that. It's gonna be more about melee, ranged, as well as units on the front, on flanks, strength on Courtyard, and additional waves. So I forgot to mention about the waves. The waves of attack determine how many soldiers you will fit in your attack. And as you can see, I have 6 there, but the base is 4 waves on level 70, and you can get 2 more from your Hall of Legends. So you can get a 5th wave on level 240, I think, of the Hall of Legends, and later with it's on 120. So you need 120 level of Hall of Legends to have this 5th wave of attack, and level 360 to get the 6th wave of attack. Useful bonuses also additional tools on flanks, as well as the travel and speed on outbound journey is also very useful. So that's all. You can learn more on the video about Hall of Legends in the right corner of this video, so definitely go and check it out. It's on my channel as well for some time, so you can learn more about Hall of Legends there. And now we will continue to titles. So titles also give you some bonuses. You can get them, you can get different bonuses there, and especially for glory, it's worth like explaining how does it work, because you have the feared, which gives you plus 10% attack bonus against other castle lords. And important to mention there is that the game defines other castle lords as other players, so obviously this is PvP targets, and for top 1 you're getting plus 20% attack bonus against all targets, so you can get in total 30% attack bonus against players, which will give you, because the attack bonus isn't actually a bonus defined in one of the attack bonuses. It's not clear what that bonus is actually. So from my observation and my knowledge and knowledge of other players I have contacted, this bonus applies to melee and range, so you're just getting more melee and ranged strength, so that would make sense. And gallantry titles as well, these are very, very useful. 10% more soldiers on front for top 50, and for top 20 you're getting 15 more units on flanks, and for top 1 20% higher power in enemy courtyards. So that is very important to know, and this was all bonuses and things you need to know about attacking. We're now gonna jump into preparation, so how to be well prepared for performing an attack on a player. So the very first step is to find the strongest units on your account to make the attack, because the stronger the units are, the stronger the attack is, and the stronger the attack is, the more damage it does to the enemy. So basically it's very, very important, also because you're gonna have more chance to get past the wall and get the bonus for Courtyard, so everything goes around the thing, and you need strong units. So you can find the strongest ones we're not talking about mid units, in the attack units, and they are sorted from the strongest to the left side to the weakest on the right side. So this is pretty easy to find the strongest. So we have veteran, horrors, ranged, and melee. And when it comes to mid units, it's even easier, because the higher the level is, the more attack power they have. So it's very important to use stronger units to get more power in the attack and to have higher chance of getting past the wall. Of course, you're gonna need a lot of units to make the attack, so let's quickly summarize where you can get them from. So the very important and the basic one is recruiting in barracks. Well, there you can produce these pretty strong mid units, the strongest in the game actually. So this is very good for players who are already into mid units, but if you're not, and you don't want to spend money on veteran horrors, for example, you can recruit units in your barracks. So when it comes to defensive units, it's still relevant to use on like average accounts or low level accounts. It's pretty okay to use the King's Guard defenders. They are okay on lower levels and for smaller players. And for attacking, I would say the only option would be the Relic Shortbowman, because this is the strongest one and it's gonna be the best but for PvP it's still a pretty weak unit. So in barracks there's nothing pretty strong to attack PvP except the mid units, so the mid units are obviously a good choice. But there are other options, so you can, for example, buy units in the bestseller. Unfortunately now I don't have the bestseller, but as you know, there are horrors and you can get 1000 horrors for 825 rupees, so that's a pretty good deal. Next option is to spin the affluence wheel, so you can get 1000 mid units level 5, you can get defenders as well as offensive units, so it depends on what you get from this wheel. And they are level 5 as for now. They might get higher level, but you can recruit actually level 10 in barracks if you have them unlocked, so it's stronger in the barracks. Another option is to buy them for tablets, for example the Nomad tablets, because samurais are so rare. But with Nomad tablets, yes, you can buy some slingshots and saber cleaver. They're not that bad in situations like you are out of units. They are still gonna do a little damage if defenders don't have a lot of mid units and stuff. It's still an option, but it's pretty weak for PvP. And the last option, sorry, not the last would be the Master Blacksmith. So here you have two options with gold pieces, but this is very deadly, I would say. And the price is deadly because it costs a lot and it's not profitable to buy them actually. But with silver pieces you can buy plenty of units there, and that's pretty good to have them. So you can buy veteran horrors, you can buy usual horrors, and that's a good option. You can also buy units from the sale or from special offers for rubies or real life currency, but yeah, that's always still an option. Okay, so now let's talk about tools. You're gonna need ruby tools, because what we call ruby tools is what you were able to buy with only rubies in past. So now you can get ruby tools for not rubies but other stuff, and I'm gonna show you in a second where. But what tools are you actually going to need? This is gonna be Breaching Tower, so it's the strongest tool against the wall. It gives you minus 20% wall protection in the attack. The same goes for Heavy Ram as a gate tool, and Boulders for moat protection, minus 15%. And very important, Shield Wall, also minus 15%, and it's reducing the strength of ranged defenders. So these four tools you can all get from Master Blacksmith as well for silver pieces. So they are not ruby tools now. You can get them for different stuff, mainly for this silver pieces. So that's a very good option, and you need to have a pretty big amount of them, because they are very important in the attack, and you're gonna use thousands, tens of thousands of them, especially in the war when making a lot of attacks. You're gonna use many of these tools. It's very bad choice to attack with tools like this one, or maybe even with 15%. They're just too weak for PvP attacks, because you're not gonna be able to reduct the amount you want. You can also use these tools which have the same bonus and glory points. It's pretty handy to have some more glory points, but you can only, I think, buy them with rubies in the bestseller, so that's not a great option. But well, if you have some for free or from some sources, you can use them as well. Okay, another important thing to have in mind is to have your commanders in correct order. I mean, there is no correct order, but you should have them in a good order, so they are not like one big mess and everything is like two PvP commanders, then next 3 NPC commanders, then some empty slots and stuff. No, that's very bad habit, and you shouldn't go like that. Well, as you can see on my account, there is 14 NPC commanders and later 15 PvP commanders, and they are just sorted. So basically the first 3 PvP commanders are the strongest ones, and the rest of them are not maxed, not like they are in lack of some bonuses. So basically you should keep like your strongest commanders at the end or at the front of your list to make it easier to access important commanders at first. Yes, so this is also a very important habit to have a good naming and to be able to quickly get the best commanders. Hall of Legends is another very important thing to have prepared before the attacks, so you can watch my video, my guide about Hall of Legends on my channel. It's recorded like a few months ago, so it's relevant for now, and you will get some bonuses for PvP, so that's also an important factor. And the last thing to prepare is build items. So these build items Beyond the Horizon, they are one of the type which you will need. So basically, resource from Beyond the Horizon, as the name says, you will need to join Beyond the Horizon and play that event a few times to get these resources. And this will allow you to construct these items, where is this, the relic slot, and you'll be able to create items which give you more unit limit on flanks on front, as well as strength in Courtyard, strength for melee and ranged. So you can get like up to 60% unit limit when attacking on the flanks. The same goes for front and Courtyard, so that's very strong. It's very expensive to make them on higher levels, but to have them at least a few levels upgraded is very important to have your account ready for some combat. The same goes for melee and ranged, but you can put 2 of them in your castle actually, so you can get a advantage of having 2 of them, not only 1, and of this you can only have 1. So there are permanent items, and there is second type which is actually the meta in current GGE PvP, and this is appearance temporary build items which give more strength for literally everything. So there is melee, there is strength for melee as well, this is range strength, Courtyard strength, so you can get front limit, front and flanks limit, so you can get everything there. So one of the source of these items is the blacksmith, so you can get them here and you can buy them for gold pieces, so that's pretty easy to get them. And you can get higher rarity from events, for example, so you can get it from there, or you can get them from Beyond the Horizon and like a few different sources. So there is plenty of source to get them. It's not that easy to get them actually, but it's very important to have them, and you can upgrade them. I have also a video how do temporary items work, so definitely go and check it out on my channel if you're not into these items, because they can make your commander like from 150 melee ranged and 120 courtyard to like 250 melee ranged and 300 courtyard, so it's a very huge change. Okay, so now when you have all the stuff prepared, we can start thinking about like practical things and how to create the attack. So before we will get into actually forming the attack inside like waves and stuff like that, I'm gonna go through the basics. So the basic for this is gonna be, we have 2 types of units. We have melee and ranged. You probably know that. And they like divide into attackers and defenders. You also probably know that. And important to have in mind that defenders, for example, these melee defenders have strength in defense against melee soldiers and against ranged soldiers. And as you can see, the melee defender is better for defending against melee attacker. So to actually be good in attacking the melee defender is to attack with ranged attackers. So ranged attackers are good for attacking these melee defenders, and the other way, melee attackers are good in attacking ranged defenders. And this might get a little bit more like complicated with tools, and it doesn't go that clear with when using tools. It might get a bit different, and I'm gonna show it to you later. But as the basics, you just need to know this fact, because this is what the game is about, actually about melee and ranged. Okay, so now we'll get into forming the attack waves, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So first, as a starter, I said about waves of the attack and how they work and how you can get more of them. So the most important thing is actually that your units don't fight like in all of the waves at the same time with defenders on the wall. They fight like each of the wave has a separate combat with units on the wall. So when the first wave comes to the wall, they fight with all the defenders on the wall. And later the second wave comes and they fight with the units on the wall which survive the fight with the first wave of the attack. So it's not like all the units from the attack get and jump into the walls. This is separated into waves. So this is clearly a harder thing for a attacker to think about and to form a good attack. So the first thing is to secure yourself from some defender tactics. And the first I'm gonna show is to protect from the defender putting 100% ranged. To like make this impossible for the defender, it's very easy. You just use ranged units and you use shields. So that's basically what the shields are for, but there is a second use as well. I'm gonna talk about it in a second. So the amount of shields, we're obviously using the Ruby tools. So these are shield walls, and we're using 38 because this is the amount you need to use to redact all the bonuses which can be gained from tools, from Castellan, from Hall of Legends and all that stuff. So this is the amount of tools we're gonna use for the ranged, with these shields. And when you use this amount of shields, you're reducing the strength of enemy ranged defenders to 0, which means that if they use only ranged defenders, you're gonna go past the wall automatically without any losses because all of their defenders are gonna be like 0%. So if you multiply something by 0, it's still 0. So the strength of the units will be 0. So it's like there was no units, so even tools don't help. If you have like 100% ranged defenders with tools, you don't need to pay attention to tools if you're gonna reduce the ranged defender strength to 0%. So that's the way we go, and we need to supply this with some tools to reduce the defensive structures, because we have on the flank we have wall and we have moat. So it's a good question what to redact, what is better, and from my observation I have like learned that moat reduction is a bit better, just a little bit, because there is a very small difference between moat and wall. So I'm usually reducing the wall, the moat. So the same goes for the second side. We use ranged units with 38 shields and 12 boulders for the moat. Okay, let's find them here. Okay, so that's good, and this protects us from the defender using only ranged. They now must use melee because there is nothing else than ranged and melee. So if we disallow them to use only ranged, they will have to use part of melee. So you do the same in the front. So let's just finish this wave with front, and with front we're gonna have a little bit of a problem because yes, you need shields, of course. So you need the amount of shields, and now there's a problem what to pick. You can use tools for wall, gate or moat, and I will go here we can go, for example, for gate. It's very important, the gate is very important, and moat. So this is actually a very good thing to experiment with. You can try different setups, you can try different with friends, like experiment which is better. You just need to use some tools here because this is just using the space you have for tools. Okay, so this wave disallows the defender to use only ranged units, so they must use some melee units as well to not get dumped because of using only ranged, and this reduces their range to nothing. So they will use some melee, and well, if they use melee, your ranged attackers will have to fight with this melee. So melee defenders, as you learned previously, they have a very like much lower strength to defend against ranged soldiers than against melee soldiers. So it's better to attack them with ranged. So we are gonna use ranged in the following waves as well. But now we're gonna focus on the defensive buildings, so the wall, gate and moat. So on the sides, on the flanks, we can use approximately 22, I believe, breaching towers to reduce everything which is possible to get bonuses for, and 13 boulders for the mode. Okay, and at the front it's a bit of a problem because you cannot put all of these tools because you're gonna lack space for rams. So I need to reduce, as you can see, only 6 space left, and boulders, the mode is very important basically to reduce. So we need to make some space for it. So you can usually like check if the defender has some less tools, for example, for the wall. Not many people use murder holes, so it's usually even less tools like breaching towers needed. So we can make some space, for example 19 and 19. Okay, let's put 18 there, and we'll have space for boulders. I believe that if you use 12, in most cases it's gonna be okay. Maybe if someone has a very good Castellan and you have very poor commander, let's obviously use the PvP one. It's gonna be 13 required, but basically that's good to go. Okay, so with that kind of setup, we have produced two different waves, and as you can see in my presets, we have two presets: PvP, which stands for the main preset, main wave. So yeah, just let's add these units, and this is the main one, and this with numbers is the additional one with shields, as you can see there. So we will use these two waves, these two presets, to make the attack, and you'll need to put the first wave with shields somewhere at the beginning of the attack. To, for example, if they have like many ranged defenders, this will make very good job against these defenders, and the rest of the waves will have to fight against part of melee and part of ranged. But the if we use, for example, another wave with shields against, for example, most melee and some ranged, it's gonna reduce the strength of ranged units to 0, but there is still some melee units on the wall if the defender mixes the two kinds of units. But the problem is, when we use a lot of shields, we are lacking any tools for breaching, like against the defensive buildings. So that's the problem, and you cannot use too many waves with shields because you're losing the space for tools against the defensive structures of the castle. So we can't use too many of these waves, and my suggestion, my habit is to use 1 per 6 wave attack and 2 per bigger attacks, like 9 or 11 waves. So use 2. You can use 2 in 6 wave attack, but only if the defender has, for example, 1 arrow slit and, for example, 65% melee units only, and a pretty big amount of ranged units on the wall. So that would be a better choice. So basically, if the defender has a arrow slit and a bit bigger than usually amount of ranged units in their castle, it's gonna be better to use more waves of these tools, of the shields. But in this example, we're gonna make the attack with this preset, and we're gonna use the shields preset, shields wave in the second wave, and that's how you can make your attack. So you need to experiment, you need to check how it works for you, how you can change these parameters, and you need to make your own, because everyone has a bit different strategies, and you just need to create your own and work on this strategy, make it as good as possible for you. But a very, very important thing to mention, and I forgot about that, is to use melee units. So obviously you have melee units, and what do you do with them? So well, you're not gonna probably use them at the beginning of the attack in the first waves, because this is gonna make very small damage to units on the front, on the wall. If defender decides to defend the front, it's gonna be very poor attack strength, attack power against these defenses at the front. So I suggest to put them at the second half of the attack, and only in the front, because flanks are very, very important to break through, because usually defenders defend with one flank if the attack is strong enough. So usually you'll need to break through the flanks and have good power on the flanks, and on the front you can allow yourself to put some melee units there. So it's important to have melee units because usually defenders have like half of melee and half of ranged defenders, and if you use only ranged it's gonna be not balanced. So the better option is to use a bit of melee, not a bit, like 1/3 or something like this. This is like the average in attacks. 1/3 of units is melee units actually. You can use melee units on flanks as well, but only if the attack is 11 waves. You can sometimes put it on 10th or 11th wave, and you can try to go like this. It sometimes makes even the attack stronger, but only in some cases, some scenarios of defending the of the defender's castle. But usually it's not a good idea to put melee units on the flanks. Okay, so we have the attack ready and it's time to send it. So well, you can send it with coins, with the fast favor of fast travel, and you can also slow it down. So there are 3 options. With coins, obviously you're not gonna attack on coins unless you need the attack to land at later time and it perfectly fits your requirements when it comes to the arrival time. But usually you will use the racehorse to have faster travel speed, or you will slow down the attack. So slowing down is a very useful and often used like feature in the game, because the first useful thing about it is that you can make the attack land on the enemy at some time when they probably sleep. So for example, 4:30 AM, the target is probably gonna sleep. And the second option there is to make mass attacks with your alliance, for example, or with part of your alliance, or even a few alliances together make a slow down attack at the exactly same minute. So for example, like 30 players say to each other that they are gonna make a planned mass attack at 4:30 AM, for example, and you can use this feature to land all your attacks, like to prepare them like 1 hour before, sorry, and to make them land at the same time. So it's gonna be very useful, because if you're sending attacks one after another to the same target, you're obviously gonna get each next attack a bit later. So it's very useful. And also if you're sending like 10 attacks, about what I said just before, if you want to send, for example, 10 or 20 attacks and you don't want them to land one after another but at the same time, you'll, for example, slow it down to 15 minutes after the time which is now, and you're gonna be able to slow down all the attacks at the same time. So some of them are gonna travel a bit longer, but they're gonna all land at the same time, and that's a very useful and important feature to remember about. So what are mass attacks used for? Mainly when you want to kick off the flag, or you maybe want to clear a outpost or any other castle before putting the flag. So there are 2 options, 2 main reasons to use the mass attack strategy, but also on players. But when you make the mass attack on player, you can defend it with a bunker. So you can do this on occupation as well, but well, occupations are way more important. So that's, for example, a real life use case of the mass attack feature. Okay, so that is all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video was useful to you, and if it was, feel free to share it in your alliance, for example, to send the link to the video in alliance, in Discord servers, in forums, wherever you want, of course, to support my videos and my creation of the videos on my channel. And I hope it's gonna help even more people thanks to this. You can send it in your alliance, you can put this on your alliance notice board and stuff, and you can save it for your alliance members. So share your thoughts in comments, please. If I forgot to mention about something, I'm gonna put this into video description and first comment pinned in the comment section. So feel free to rate this video with thumbs up or thumbs down depending on your thoughts. Of course, these thumbs are used to let me know if the video was good enough, or maybe there was some bad decisions, some bad something which decided your rating. So that is all. Yeah, the video was pretty long, but I don't want the ending to be so long as well. So thank you very much for watching again, and see you in the next video. Bye.